The hyper-reality of narcissism. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Much of what you experience in the world is influenced by my kind. Invariably, it is my kind that get into positions of power as world leaders, as leaders of political parties, clambering to the top of organizations, becoming CEOs of vast industries. Prominent individuals in the world of politics, the military, industry, commerce, film, television, entertainment. The books that you read, the shows that you watch, the information that you digest, all created and controlled by my kind. Of course, not everybody in those industries at the top of the tree are narcissists, but many are, and we are disproportionately represented. As I've explained to you on many occasions, those roles are particularly appealing to narcissists because they allow access to the prime aims better than anything else. And furthermore, the narcissist is particularly equipped to get to the top in certain industries as a consequence of having no emotional empathy, the drive, the self-belief, the ability to trample on other people, the utilizations of lies to get ahead. And thus what then happens is that the agendas are created by my kind. The attitudes that prevail become shaped by the narcissist. The world that you live in is controlled and shaped and developed and heavily influenced by the narcissist. The trends that occur are brought to the fore by narcissists. I've explained to you previously how that was the case with the cult of the selfie. That previously you would take a photograph of a view, you might ask a stand-by, someone who's passing by, if they could take a picture of you, and perhaps you and your girlfriend or spouse, but largely you took the pictures yourself, and therefore you were behind the camera. Then along came the camera phone, which made it easier to take those photographs and also just to hold it out in front of yourself so that you could be in on the photograph. And, of course, the selfie stick assisted in that regard. This meant for the narcissist, who wanted to create a record which included them and that they could then use that record to triangulate with other people, the arrival of the selfie was manna from heaven. The narcissist could then say, look at my pictures. Here's me in front of the Statue of Liberty. Here's me outside the Empire State Building. Here's me at the top of the Empire State Building. Here's me at the Taj Mahal. Here's me at the Grand Canyon. Here's me outside the Houses of Parliament. Here's me eating something. Here's me drinking something. Here's me walking down the street. Here's me lying in bed. Here's me sat on the toilet. Here's me taking a shower. On and on it goes. The narcissist is able to insert themselves much more readily in all of those photographs. And therefore, that, combined with social media, enabled them to assert control and draw fuel. And thus created this concept of the selfie, which is a self-indulgent show-off step, which then bled into the mainstream, so that non-narcissists, narcissistic people, normals and empaths, started to emulate it, because it was seen as a mainstream behaviour. Similar has happened with the lyrics in music and the content of books and poetry with the formation of the idea of romance. The material that appears in television series and in films, again, creates an image which is divorced from reality, yet people aspire to it, that people, not really thinking in a critical way, believe that that's how their relationship should look, like some Hollywood rom-com. Again, The narcissist has created a reality. And what the narcissist in effect does is take reality and concentrate it all the more for the purposes of causing people to respond to that reality, thus giving the narcissist control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. That this concentration, this hypering of the world around you is being done repeatedly by my kind. And an example of that has come my way as a consequence of demonstrating to you how narcissism creates this hyper-reality and impacts upon individuals. You may or may not be familiar with who Erin Moriarty is. She's an American actress and she's 29 years old. She's known for her role as Annie January Starlight in the series The Boys, which has been running since 2019. I'm not familiar with it. Prior to The Boys, she had notable roles in the series Jessica Jones, True Detective, and Red Widow. Outside of television, she's appeared in acclaimed independent films The Kings of Summer and Captain Fantastic. She was born and raised in New York City, and apparently as a child was a huge fan of the Pokemon franchise. Well, let's have a look at Erin Moriarty. Here she is, or rather, here's how she used to look. There she is, Erin Moriarty. Objectively, you would say that's an attractive young woman. You can look at her, you might not fall in love with her, but you would say, yes, she's attractive. She's got good features, nice lips, well-proportioned face. She's appealing to the eye, nice long hair. You would definitely say, yes, that is an attractive woman that I am looking at. She's an actress. She's there to perform particular roles, and there'd be little doubt that her attractiveness would help in that regard. Now, I haven't analysed Erin Moriarty, and the little that I do know about her doesn't suggest to me that you're looking at a narcissist. Instead, the purpose of this is to show the hyper-reality of narcissism, how it impacts upon society and the way that people behave. Just as I explained to you the way that the selfie has influenced so many people who are not narcissists to use it, thus normalizing the behavior and making what is actually quite a narcissistic behavior become almost acceptable. It's also been the case that certain narcissists have engaged in altering their appearance in order to pursue the prime aims. Somatic and elite, but particularly somatic narcissists are fixated on appearance. They need to draw a reaction from the way that they look. They need to be beautiful. They need to be handsome. They need to be stunning. They need to be attractive. And many of the modifications that have taken place, the sudden spiraling of women having breast enlargements, the fillers that are placed in lips, the enhancement of cheeks, people having large bottoms created, pectoral implants for men, hair implants particularly for men, rhinoplasty. Now, of course, plastic or cosmetic surgery has a very useful role. Anybody is entitled to want to change their appearance. After all, it's your face and your body, and if you can afford it, away you go. In some instances, it brings clear benefits to somebody. An individual may have suffered some kind of scarring which needs to be dealt with. It might be that they've suffered an injury, and therefore some form of facial reconstruction through plastic surgery is hugely important. It might be, for instance, that they're unhappy with their nose, that objectively they've got a large hooked nose and they want to make it smaller, or they've got jug ears that they want to have pinned back. So there is a place. But looking at Erin Moriarty, who's on your screen, would you say that there's anything there in that young lady that needs to be altered? That there be any improvement in her physical appearance? The answer, overwhelmingly, must be no. And yet, this is what she now looks like. That is Erin Moriarty. Now, I don't create this video to shame Erin Moriarty in any way, but rather to demonstrate the way that certain narcissistic values, if I can describe it as such, impact upon society through this hyperreality. I'm pretty certain that the vast majority of you watching this video would agree with me in saying that she looked better prior to these alterations. It's not that she looks ugly, not at all, but she was naturally beautiful before, whereas now she has fallen prey to that plastic enhancement that is seen all too often. One might describe it as the Kardashian effect. The pencil-thin nose, the plumped-up lips, the accentuated cheeks. Whilst you might still think she looks attractive, to my mind, she looked far more attractive in the pre-surgery pictures, and what we have here is a plastic representation of her. Now, the creation of her in this way is demonstrative of the way that many individuals have fallen prey to this hyperreality of narcissism. That narcissists such as Kim Kardashian and others undertake surgery, which isn't necessary, but they deem it so because they want to remain, they see, as good-looking, young, attractive, because all of that helps them control people and draw fuel from them, remember, subconsciously. Thus, the narcissists, in order to maintain youth and to pursue the prime aims, to maintain what they believe is attractiveness, pursue these cosmetic changes, often spending huge amounts of money in doing so. And they create this plastic look of high foreheads, accentuated cheekbones, pencil-thin noses and plumped-up lips, so that many of the women that go down this route, and of course men do also with corresponding mutatis mutandi changes, they have this almost cloned, plasticky look. And this is what we see here. But for many people, it's deemed acceptable. It's deemed as something that they should strive for. It's deemed as attractive. And who has created that? The narcissists are at the forefront of the look to begin with. They've taken the way that somebody has looked and they've sought to suck the essence from it by taking key constituent parts and saying, this is what we should look like. How many times do you see young women who all have those similar eyebrows? How rare is it to see someone who has aged gracefully? How often do we see amongst the rich and the famous their use of cosmetic surgery, which of course they're perfectly entitled to do, but notice how the influence has come to bear, as it may well have done upon Erin Moriarty, to look a particular way which has been driven by the narcissist to begin with. And thus, you are looking at the hyperreality of narcissism. Do you agree with what I have suggested with regard to the influence of narcissists on the way that people look in society as a whole? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.